Fire. Water. Earth. Air. Not long ago, the four nations lived together in harmony. Then everything changed, and the Fire Nation attacked. Hello! Hi, everyone! I always have this moment when I'm doing a countdown with my fingers where I'm like, what's the next number that my hand is supposed to make? And then I'm worried that I went 5, 3,
So
2, 1.
So my history of that is counting down silently and then realizing I have to press a button with the hand I'm counting down with, and then not being able to finish the countdown or being late because I have to finish it and then
elbow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Just like, wait, one over here, but over here. Yep. I feel like every time I'm doing like a countdown, I'm like, have I forgotten how to count? And that's just, it's very
it's
normal.
good to be reassured that you haven't forgotten basic things like how to count, to be honest.
Yeah, it's pretty nice to be like, no, you got this. Here is one thing that you have under your control.
If nothing else, you can count. That's good.
So, speaking of counting, that's a segue. Hi, everybody. It's lovely to see you all here. The last time we did this was a while ago. Let's not specify how long ago it is, because then I'll...
It's like 2 months.
...feel bad about myself. Honestly, at this point, time has lost most meaning.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, that's
It was
fair.
at least an avatar ago.
It was at least an avatar ago.
Yeah, a whole avatar.
Yeah, we're one avatar cycle.
Or actually, Korra has now taken over.
Oh yeah.
Seriously, like
that would be a long time. That would be like 150 years.
Well, it's been that long.
Yeah, and as Nanosphere points out, this has happened more frequently than Celestial Rangers did. That one took me 2 years to get through 7 episodes. So,
but also, like, if we expand the time that it actually took, the last month has been at least several years.
It's
so.
very true.
Oh,
it's very
confirmed,
true.
yeah.
But I will say that I'm very pleased that all of you are here. I'm glad we are able to meet upon this fine Tuesday evening. And we're going to tell a cool story today. Maybe it'll be the last episode of our story. I haven't really planned that far because I don't necessarily trust you to come to a resolution today.
Find out.
Well,
You think I can resolve anything? That's...
We're just gonna, instead of fade to black, it's gonna fade to white and black with a panda spirit.
ooh, I like that better than the actual ending, which is everything goes bad, probably. Because doesn't the world just
and like that's
for
the
a while?
thing is that it's kind of shitty for about 100 years, but even amongst tragedy, you can find. I think of this. I liken it a little bit to like Breath of the Wild, where it's like, the world ended and it really sucked for a lot of stuff, but like people persist and make their communities and their villages, and so we get to decide like what does it look like to persist amongst the conflict that was the Fire Nation.
Either that, or
I feel like when I did this, the world wasn't quite so depressing. So,
yeah,
but it's cool.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Yes.
So yeah, for those of you who might just be joining us, today is. This show today is also Broken Harmony. This show is Broken Harmony. It is an Avatar: The Last Airbender setting RPG, except it is set 100 years or so before the events of the actual TV show Avatar, and then even well before the events of Korra. It is, flavor-wise, a children's TV show, and in this world, people have the magical ability to control the 4 elements, but there are also plenty of super normal people as well. And we're using a powered by the apocalypse system called Legend of the Elements, which works in a very similar way to a lot of PBTA systems. When you want to do something, you'll have described what it is that your character is doing, and then we'll decide which of the moves seems most relevant to whatever it is your character was doing, and then you make a roll of 2d6 plus the stat indicated by the move, and then if you get a 7 to 9, you succeed, but there's some sort of consequence, and if you get a 10 or above, you succeed, and it's a sort of super awesomeness. Anything below a 6, you mark a point of or 6 or below, you mark a point of experience. I think it's called something else in this game. It's chi.
Chi.
You mark
Chi,
a point of chi. You can use chi to occasionally get rerolls or to upgrade your character and get cool new abilities. But otherwise, normally something bad happens or less of what you want happens when you do not succeed on your rolls. And then all of you have certain special abilities that can apply in different situations. Some of you might be able to waterbend or wire fu or talk to spirits or I don't know, what can Cerise do?
Cerise is really good at making stuff happen one way or the other.
That's fair.
I see, yes.
Every RPG needs that.
The peasant is here.
Yeah, the peasant. I really, again, still remember, I'm going to be a waterbender. I'm going to be the fighter, warrior. I'm going to be I'm going to be the peasant. Of course.
Yeah, that was as soon as I read that, I'm like, done. I don't need any superpowers.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. So that's the game that we're going to be playing today. And don't worry, I will remind all of you, including myself, what has happened in the previous episodes. Thank you to William for the incredibly detailed summary that can be found over on the wiki. In case you are a particularly good speed reader, feel free to take a peruse through the link that I just posted in chat. But don't worry, I'll provide the quick TLDR. And we'll remember what happened. There are some key points, and then there's some flavor stuff that'll probably come to us as we're playing. But with that in mind, let's go ahead and have all of you introduce who you are and who you are playing. Maybe like a sentence about them. And then I'll launch us into our summary, and we will get straight to our action, because shit went down last time, y'all. All right, let's start with Cerise, our peasant. I'm pointing the wrong side. Cerise.
Hi, my name is Marcus, or at Best Kinda Worst on Twitter and Twitch and Instagram and all those things. I think it's down here somewhere. I am playing the peasant character, a boy named Cerise, who runs the family cherry cave. Loves the Olive Fox, huge fan. Got punched in the face by a fire fist. Don't worry about it. We'll get to it. And of course, I gotta give a shout out to my BFF and Death, Rill. Rill, how you doing? And of course Senna, who is not allowed to come to my family's farm as much anymore, but my grandma's getting a little more lenient on that, so it's going pretty good.
I helped.
That's 1 to 3 sentences.
Yeah, it's 1 to 3 sentences.
That counts.
Perfect following directions. Let's go down from there. Darcy.
Hi everybody, I'm Darcy, and I'm playing Rill. They're a waterbender, longtime friend of the cherry farmer family and the Avos, etc. Rill is all about protecting what found family and what they've sort of built around themselves, and also the wonderful city that we live in. So Rill has moments of calm and moments of impatience, and the impatience has driven them to want to protect their city more and take up arms against the Fire Nation waiting outside the town's walls. And so they have been part of the sort of resistance force within our city of TAKU. They're, and I respect the spirit bending powers of lovely Senna over there.
All right, so let's go across to Elf.
Gotta unmute myself first. There we go. Hello. I'm Distracted Elf. I'll be playing Aki, or the Olive Fox today, depending on her alter ego or not. She's a warrior and former Fire Nation soldier who really got involved in all of this as a matter of personal vengeance. And she's now had that vengeance, so I'm not entirely sure what's next for her. But that'll be the interesting part. That'll be the good.
That's the turning point.
Stuff, I'm pretty sure. So
she could just stay on the ship.
I mean, I don't know.
I think Shu got tossed overboard.
He did, yeah.
Yep.
So he's not gonna say shit. All right, and last but certainly not least, Maris.
Hello, I'm Maris, fabric alchemist online, and I am playing Senna, who is a spirit bender. She stumbled into the spirit realm when she was an adolescent and has always just kind of gotten along with spirits better than she's gotten along with flesh and blood humans. She had kind of tried to stay kind of out of the conflict that was taking over her community, kind of following in the kind of frustratingly neutral stance that the spirits take. But kind of through her friends, she has come to join the fight against the Fire Nation.
It's kind of one of those things you can't just avoid. Or you can, but you can't while you're in the city. So, speaking of the city of TAKU is located in the northern area of the Earth Kingdom. It is one of the locations that is probably largest close city to the Fire Nation, and it has been under siege for a fairly extended period of time. And it, like, I use the term siege, but it's like a light siege. It's more of a blockade, preventing a lot of stuff getting in or out of the city. There's a lot of patrolling Fire Nation soldiers kind of in the area, making it dangerous for people to leave because there is the potential that they'll get attacked or get captured. But the Fire Nation has not directly attacked the city because they don't feel like, for whatever reason, they're in the correct strategic. That's what I was looking for. I was like military strategic position to do so. But that might just be because Commander Shu is a coward, as was potentially pointed out to the Fire Nation recently from a reasonably well-written letter by a narc of a Fire Nation soldier.
Oh, yeah.
So
I forgot about that.
Yeah. So let's back up a little bit. This is like kind of the history of the city before our story began, which is that they've been under siege. Things are happening. This is sometime after the Fire Nation attacked the air nomads, has largely wiped them all out as far as most people are concerned. And in the first few episodes, we discovered that there was, in fact, an airbender in the city. And before we learned that there were Fire Nation spies. A Fire Nation spy in the city. And said Fire Nation spy was on a mysterious mission, which we eventually figured out was to find said airbender. Now, naturally, Cerise made friends with that spy at one point. The group also decided that the best way to get around the fact that Cerise had gotten a hold of the Olive Fox, who is a vigilante against the Fire Nation's sword, was to put on a play.
Oh my god!
So that happened.
An incredibly well-reviewed play, I might add. I want to say the reviews were stunning.
There was one
Everyone
reviewer.
Loved it.
There were reviews.
They loved it.
There were reviews by one reviewer. Yeah. So they put on a play, and God, the play was straight up the first episode, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it was early.
No, I think that was episode. No, I think it was episode one.
First episode.
It
Was definitely
episode.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
what are we doing? Oh, we're putting on a play.
That's right.
With
That's
fire.
right. First episode. So you put on a play. And then you discovered that there was this Fire Nation spy. You weren't really sure what they were after. And there was a whole like poster campaign to be able to like convince people that Cerise was and or then was not the Olive Fox that went either well or not well, depending on your perspective. Events conspired. They eventually ran into the Airbender, discovered that she needed some help leaving the city. Because it definitely wasn't safe for her in TAKU. She was being hunted by this spy. And so Aki saw this as a potential moment to basically kill two birds with one stone. Sure, whatever, they can help out this airbender, but more importantly, they can make Captain/Commander, who I don't know if I ever fully determined which one. Commander Shu? I think I've written it down as both in both places.
I don't know.
I don't know. Guy in charge of the boats here.
Boat guy, shoot.
Boat guy Shu. Who they have a personal, Aki, she has a personal vendetta against Boat Guy Shu, because he screwed her over and her patrol. And so seized this opportunity to essentially get onto the ship with Shu, cause a distraction, and allow the airbender to escape on a small fishing vessel past the Fire Nation blockade. And many parts of this plan worked. Not all of the parts. They did manage to... Aki sent a letter to the Fire Nation High Command quite successfully. The letter was moderately successful at convincing them to essentially, like, discipline, like showing how bad Shu was. It may have made Shu seem more like a coward and an ineffectual leader than was intended. But, they did certainly get the attention of the Fire Nation. And then they convinced some soldiers to bring them onto the ship and passed off Cerise as the Airbender. And then they were discovered and they got into a fight on the ship. The Fire Nation soldiers were eventually bested by the group, at least sufficiently enough that they could all escape back on.
I seem to remember shooting a cannon at the deck.
There was shooting a cannon at the deck. There was a lot of water bending, I think, to remove them from the surface of the ship. I believe Shu was like punted into the water. And yeah, it was slippery. There was a lot of stuff that went on there. There were also 12 of them on the deck because I was like, why didn't I roll?
Oh yeah, you rolled.
And I got boxcars. So, but yeah, you successfully evaded them. You get back on the ship, the little boat, the sort of dinghy boat that had taken you to this ship, and intend to head back to the shore. But you are, as it does appear at that moment, and this is kind of where we pick up. We see the scene where many of the ships in the blockade, very clearly distracted by the fact that you did fire a cannon at the deck of the ship. And, like, it's kind of smoking, and there's fire, and there's, like, a crater, and it looks really bad. And so several of the ships are turning around and just kind of trying to pull in closer. Some of them are probably going to send like smaller boats over to investigate what has happened, because obviously this is not like, this is the flagship. This is the important ship. This is Shu's ship. And it doesn't look so hot right now. So you all slip onto this small little rowboat dinghy thingy and try and make your way to shore. But as you are heading there, as you see the ships turning, you see off in the distance, and not like immediately close, but like clearly closing in. Whoever has the best eyesight spots this. And you see the smoke stack of a large Fire Nation ship approaching, and actually likely more than one, probably somewhere between 3 and 5 Fire Nation ships coming, which I think Aki would sort of immediately recognize as reinforcements of some kind, or perhaps relieving someone of their command. And I think that's the moment where you're like, oh, maybe I was a little too harsh on him in my letter.
Maybe they took me too seriously.
And they appear to have decided that Shu is no longer the one in charge here, and that TAKU has been under siege for long enough. And you suspect that a attack is perhaps far more imminent than it has been previously. As you all make your way to the shore in your small boat. And that is the scene that we will open.
Our dear Airbender got away, right?
As far as you could see, like you see like the little fishing boat somewhere very off in the distance, like sneaking around the blockade. So she has likely made it to land, and her fate beyond that is will be found out in our sequel in Ba Sing Se.
Yeah. Okay, so we end up back on the shore. I think there's a lot of adrenaline.
Yep.
Going at least through Aki at this point.
It was
like
pretty cool.
The wind down to the like combat that we'd been involved in. But she looks up, and she's still wearing like the Olive Fox gear, because that was, or no, she was wearing the Fire Nation.
Yeah, you were dressed as a Fire Nation soldier. I think
she looks up back. Yeah, I was, because I was escorting the Fire Nation soldier, not an Olive Fox.
One of your many identities.
One of my many identities.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Listen, I'm Jason Bourne over here. I just have 1,000 passports, you know. So she looks over at the ships that are coming in and goes, that's probably not good. We're going to have to mobilize quickly here. If they're coming directly to the shore, then this is going to be over really fast if people aren't ready.
Ready for all of that? Like, do we think all those ships are just going to turn on us immediately, or are they sending you know,
I
you and
mean,
Shu seem to have business, is all I'm saying. What do you think the plan here would be?
I feel like I need to make a roll for like, you know, Fire Nation doctrine or something,
Okay.
like the way that it would work.
Yeah, what you know. Do you want to
What I
just
would know about it.
roll plus? I'd say you're keen.
Maybe keen.
Yeah. And then you can kind of decide for yourself what you know to be true.
Yeah. I'm not gonna make it a big deal, but I fail very, very, very hard.
So what does Aki think is true?
So Aki's response there is like, she looks like she's not very sure, you know, as if she's like thinking on it pretty hard. And she goes, well, they might send an announcement of some kind, some sort of surrender now or you know, prepare to die sort of thing. But I don't know. I used to just follow the orders, you know, like she says, sort of blatantly and openly being like, yeah, no, this is my real uniform sort of
Yeah,
thing.
this is the first time you've talked about that.
Well, like, I yelled out that, like, Shu had screwed me over, like, publicly in front of the group, sort of thing. She was like, I used to just follow the orders, so I'm not sure what'll be coming.
I think Rill kind of looks at you in a new light, like everything is starting to slide into place. But there are bigger problems than the fact that you are definitely a Fire Nation person. And the bigger problem is those big cannons that we saw taking out the deck of the ship we were on, and what those might look like when they're fired at, say, some walls.
Especially from larger ships.
I think there's maybe a moment where you also all think about the fact that, like, the Fire Nation does not have a history of being, like, giving people a chance to, like, they just sort of go in and attack. I mean, that's certainly what they did with the air nomads.
Like, fast, quick aggression.
Yeah.
He who strikes first strikes last.
And my guess is, because we never really talked about, like, why TAKU hasn't had that before, I'm guessing they probably hadn't deemed it a location of, like, strategic importance, so they were just kind of preventing people from getting in and out.
I think there's a big difference with any like autocratic like empire when we're talking about that kind of stuff, where as long as it's not an embarrassment, it doesn't matter what happens there. But now it's an embarrassment.
Yeah.
And like now we have to make sure that the command is not questioned, sort of thing. At least in like what I would interpret.
Yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense.
And we have like a medical facility, right? So I wonder, keeping us from getting out.
Yeah, TAKU is definitely
from...
known for its what was it? It was like the Herbalist Institute or something.
Yeah.
Cherries.
No.
And cherries.
Known for its cherries.
Yeah, cherry flavored medicine.
Yeah, that's where it started.
I think it might be time to contact the Resistance. I think they need to know what's about to happen. Even if we don't know the specifics, they may have more intel than we do. I think it might be time to officially bring you all in.
Whatever we're doing, we have to act quickly as possible. Any decisive action is better than indecisive action at this point.
So what you're saying is don't be RPG players?
Rill? Lead the way.
All right. I think I take you all down a series of strange, winding secret passages and some leaving stones and lighting candles to spread the word before us, as I lead you to some place where we can meet with, or hopefully set up a meeting with, Zira, my Resistance sort of leader.
Yeah, I think there's some sort of base in someone's basement. Like it's, you go through that was not intentional, but it is now. You go through the front door, there's a series of codes and knocks, and they like let you through, and you go through like small underground tunnels, and then you're like told to wait a couple of times, and then eventually you're brought into this room. There's barrels, the faint smell of cherry liqueur filling the room. There's a table with a map of the city of Taku on it, little figurines, which really some of them are like actual figurines, and a lot of them are probably just like rocks that have been very roughly earth-shaped into some sort of form. And they're kind of scattered around on the table, and there's like 3 different people in there, all sort of very, very intently focused on this piece of paper, on this map that they're all looking at. And you would recognize one of them as Zira, the leader of this resistance here in Taku. And she's sort of furtively talking amongst with the other 2, and probably dismisses one of them, like, go do this thing, and then eventually looks up and looks at you.
It's the whole talking to someone else on a map, and then that conversation ends, looks up. Yeah.
Yep, no, 100%. It's like a scene from a video game. Yeah. What first of all, what do you think your relationship is with Zira? Like, how do you 2 get along, and what is their sort of, how would you describe them?
Yeah, interesting. I think I'm like very much senpai, like, please, I just want to do good. I just want to be seen as doing good. So I think Rill is sort of sweating bullets here and very nervous. I think Zira is kind of no nonsense, is super like tall and built and like, very Earth Nation, solid in themselves. And I feel like a puddle that just spreads out and has no structure to it when I'm in front of them. So Zira is very cool and very senpai, and I would just like to do like not make a fool of myself in front of them. So that's how I feel about Zira.
Zira looks at you. Rill, do you have a report for me? Is there a reason you asked to come? Also, who are they?
I'm standing there in a Fire Nation uniform. I'd just like to point out.
What is Cerise got injured? What's going on with him?
Tell us about Cerise.
So I think I'm trying to remember if I was wearing some of the Olive Fox like fake garb that I had before.
Oh yeah, because were you pretending that the Olive Fox was also the Airbender?
Yes.
Like it was like a double.
It was a very good plan by Cerise.
Cerise.
So Cerise is in kind of like tattered and burned Olive Fox-esque discount cosplay, and he's kind of like holding like a piece of the fabric just kind of over a little bit of his face. It's clearly like there's something not good under whatever he's covering. He is a little quieter, and I think he actually might be like sniffling a little bit. He might be crying just a tiny bit. He's used to pain, but not getting punched in the face with a fire fist kind of pain. And he's also, I think, still a child. So yeah, he's just over and kind of off to the back, just bring his face a bit like
Zira standing there, arms crossed, looking at the 4 of you.
I have something better than a report, Zira. I have a Fire Nation informant. And we just came from one of the Fire Nation's ships, which are now rallying around and starting to face the city in a way that they had not before. I think the time to move is now. And I may not have the answers for the best move, but I think it's time for a coordinated something. I think we need coordination. I have information.
He gives you a weird look at like Fire Nation informant, like, oh, okay, I see, all right.
So unlike Lauren, Zira, I think they keep a straight face through this whole thing, like probably like a little betrayals of emotion of like, and they sort of say like, this must be the reports that I was getting of the flaming explosion that occurred on one of the ships in the blockade. And also the approaching ships that are coming.
Yeah, that was us.
Are both of those you're doing?
Well, Yeah.
I wouldn't say we're directly causal.
Do I want to know
There was
how
a
you
cause
got
and effect to it, I think.
additional fire nation? Do I want to know
Correlation.
how you caused additional Fire Nation
Correlation.
How you
Just go.
You know, it might be safer for you if you don't know.
right.
Oh, yeah. Real's really
Is
good
this-
at bullshitting.
Real, does this have anything to do with the Airbender that we recently relocated out of the city? As in, recently, like, the little boat is probably still on its way out. Or
Yes, this was the distraction
right.
that we took to get them past the blockade. So
Well, you did tell me you were going to cause a distraction.
it worked so well, so
Was-
much better than we could have anticipated.
Very distracting, I'm sure. All right. So we have additional ships coming. They have, presumably, weapons. And they look over at Aki at this point. Is there any information you can provide us about the nature, the layout, the capacity of these ships? What are they capable of? Is this a situation that we just need to safely evacuate? Are we giving up on TAKU now?
My opinion, I don't see a group of trained soldiers to form up in front of these Fire Nations, so I think backing out as quickly as we can and as safely as we can sounds like a good idea.
Well, I'm clearly going to listen to the four of you because you are the protagonists in this story and I'm a backup character.
I mean, I've operated within my own cell. Zira, how large is the resistance? What do we have to work with?
We're not large enough to take on the fleet. Otherwise, we would have. Our hope was to be able to hold out long enough and convince the Earth Kingdom to send actual reinforcements here. But the monarch is not forthcoming with troops or resources. What we have here is dwindling. They don't consider us a strategic importance.
What I can tell you is they definitely don't know the layout of this place. There's no way that they've bothered to memorize every street and every building. So at least you have that advantage.
So perhaps we need to evacuate the city and we need to slow them down while we do that. There's enough people here. It's not a quick or instant thing that we can do. Get as many people as we can to Bossing Say. Hope that they'll take us.
Yeah.
Might I recommend laying as many snares as we can along the way?
We have a fair number of earthbenders. I think we can... And I think at that point, they kind of look around at their people and they're like, all right, call the generals in. call all the cell leaders. And they will quickly assemble. And I think we can probably move to some sort of kind of out of character conversation, or perhaps in character, where you all decide, like, what part do you want to play in this? Like, their intention will likely be slow anyone down from attacking, be that slowing the ships from landing, be that slowing soldiers, because the ships can't come all the way into the harbor. They're too big, so they're going to bring soldiers in on boats. They're probably going to bomb from a distance. But then there's also the people to worry about that might stop people from leaving or evacuating. Any, like, Fire Nation soldiers that are currently on the land probably also need to be dealt with. So there's kind of like two major fronts. Or do you want to, like, launch some player ridiculous, like, climb aboard one of these ships and try and, like, ram it into another one and slow them down from there?
We
like,
distract them with a play.
Sinking the boats is always a good idea.
yeah. So there's a lot of options that you as players could choose to engage in. I'm not going to make you responsible for the entire, like, evacuation of the city, but know that that's what's happening in the background. And like, as a group, what do you all think you would gravitate towards? I imagine Zira, like, dismisses you, and probably is like, Rill will tell you what happened. Well, like, the decisions that are made soon. And then you're all, like, ushered out into the whatever bar this is attached to. Like,
I would think that all of us, kind of having spent time in TAKU and around, we are probably pretty well suited for trying to take care of some of those Fire Nation folks who are on land. who don't know the area as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
For sure.
presumably the city won't be evacuating by sea because there's just no
Yeah.
way to do that past all the ships, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
we got to clear the back route, so to speak, as best we can.
I was thinking about the way that there were some strange effects happening on plants out by the cherry farm, and I know
Yeah.
that Senna's connection to the spirits and things.
Mind your
My
notes, Lauren.
Well,
Yeah.
I was
Tree
just
rot.
thinking,
It's tree rot.
as we set up the path or paths that people retreating need to take to temporary safety or immediately to Bossing Say, I almost wonder if whether played out here in this episode or in the future, talking to the spirits and finding the safe way around whatever that is might be of interest. So
Yeah,
put down one more thread that we may or may not engage with.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
definitely know, like, it's not a short journey between here and Ba Sing Se. Like, this is across a good portion of the Earth Kingdom.
Yeah.
But Ba Sing Se is a very large walled city, so it's probably safe. There is no war in Ba Sing Se.
My other suggestion, which may not, if I said this in character, I'm just going to do it that way. My other suggestion, which may not come across as particularly, how would I put this, amenable to most of you, is just surrender. They'll kill less of you that way.
Oh. Well, I don't know about that. I think that might be...
I'm just floating it as an option.
You're not wrong. Cerise just kind of walks a little bit further away and just like gonna look out a window and just kind of think about it. He's gonna visualize. Cerise is putting all available emotional energy to visualizing a plan that is going to work and save everyone and no one's gonna get hurt. So Cerise is just focusing.
I think Aki's like, she's not trying to be defeatist about it, and when she presents it, it's like, this is a tactical option that may preserve lives, more so than like, I want them to win, or like I have some vested interest in that. Because she knows if they surrender, she's surrendering too, and that's equally bad for her.
What would the olive fox do?
Are you saying that out loud?
Yes, Cerise just kind of says it out loud to himself.
Senna just kind of looks at Aki.
I mean, are we talking about the real olive fox, or are we talking about the idealized version of the olive fox presented by Cerise's mind?
I'm talking about you, Aki. What would you do? You are the olive fox, and as much of this has been stories and actual action mixing together to make enticing fiction, I don't know. What would the olive fox do? Cerise kind of turns back and looks, and you can kind of see that he's got a really nasty black eye. He's got kind of knuckle marks where his eyebrows used to be. They are now burned off. On one of his eyebrows on his right side is just burnt off, and he just kind of just looks a little bit sadder than you might have seen him before.
Yeah. And I think that like, that hits the heart a little bit. There's a little emotion from Aki at that. Like, there's a pause, like a hesitation. And she says, well, I mean, if I were only choosing for myself, which is what the olive fox would be doing, I would do the same thing I have been doing, which is hit and run, fight and retreat, get what I want and back out, disappear into the night and make them scared. But it's different when it's an army, it's not a garrison. It's not a couple of street thugs. This is like a full landing force that's coming here. This is proper firebenders, trained firebenders, coming to burn this place to the ground if they have to. It's... If it were just me, I would fight them somehow. But doing it out in the open would be ridiculous. And I still think that the safest option is some kind of evacuation, some kind of fighting retreat. We're not up to this. Maybe we are, but this town isn't up to this. They're merchants. They're farmers. They're
survivors.
Yeah.
But what this town needs is more than just survival. The numbers of deaths might be less if we completely surrendered. But I think the city would be worse for it, and I think our spirit would be broken. I think we need to save as many as we can, but I also think we need to fight and stall and accept that to let any of these people live any sort of life, and more than just hanging on, surviving under the regime, waiting outside for us.
What if Cerise just takes a second and is like just kind of what little brain power he has working at the moment is just like firing. You can see the sparks happening behind his eyes. What if we trick him? What if we tell them that we're all meeting someplace for evacuation and then ambush them while the rest of the people get out from the other side? I have a perfect little cave for that. If we're gonna lose everything, I know my grandpa wouldn't mind if we lost the farm to help. I'm sure if we can get my grandma out, it'd be okay. It'd be a good place for it doesn't have to be our last, but a good place for a stand. So,
I could send a message.
It worked last time.
We've been pretty good at deception, so
they clearly reading them. So,
you have a new pen pal.
Maybe
it's Fire Lord Sozin.
Maybe whoever's commanding those ships over there will listen to whatever else I feed them, so to speak.
I also know the farmers
feed them cherries.
They organize. We can communicate with them and help them bring them in on the ruse.
So I don't fully understand the purpose of what Cerise is trying to get at.
So I think, if I'm reading it right, Marcus, if you don't mind me doing a summary here, I think what the plan is fake some information about where the people in the town are rallying to either retreat or form some kind of resistance to fight back, as if it were presented by an informant, and then have the Fire Nation come to that place and everyone be incredibly ready for them.
It also the land there is pretty beneficial because there's a cave that was formed through the earthbending. Yeah. So it could even be there's a good spot right there, lots of land, lots of cover.
So your goal is not to
push
draw
the rocks on top of them.
The entire Fire Nation army, but subset of them.
Just enough as a distraction to get away for as many people as we can.
It is certainly a good in tandem with whatever else the resistance would be doing. That your characters could take responsibility for. For sure.
And the other thing is, if they're getting information from an informant and that informant is believed, then you're likely to get more particular attention, if you know what I mean, from whoever's in charge or whatever.
And the benefit is, I think they might have made the connection between something that a lot of stuff has happened to the Sherry Farm in the last little bit, so I think there might be some business going on over there that might.
I mean, you do know there was a spy in the city that probably came to watch the play.
Yeah,
and they loved it.
I don't know if the spy did. All right. So is that do you like take that back to Zira and sort of advocate that this is like maybe get your whole cell involved?
Yeah,
imagine like your
so.
cell's like half a dozen people, so there's probably like twice as many of you now.
If we can requisition an earthbender or two to maybe help set traps for the earth to fall out from underneath them. Apologies to the cherry farmers. But this earth isn't much good to us if it's in Fire Nation hands anyway.
Yeah. I think Grandpa would have wanted it this way.
You're
So
like
are
one of the
we-
rocks, and under it's just like fuck Fire Nation.
You've seen the back of the cave?
Yeah, just scroll to the
Are we just letting TAKU become Fire Nation territory? Like, so when the resistance is telling people to evacuate, like they are not coming back.
Yeah,
They need
you're
to take
leaving
their
and you're
stuff.
not coming back.
Yeah.
Like, we can't fight back an army, and it's unlikely that we will. And also, narratively, TAKU does fall into the hands of Fire Nations,
It
so
does.
it
It
just
does
all
fall.
works
Yep.
out nice.
Yep.
This is an AU
Yeah.
where we win.
Oh, that's so hopeful of you. So I think we kind of have a few different things to play with, but it sounds like you all have. So Zira, here's your plan.
Did someone say play?
One. I mean, you could put on a play of being resistance people. Zira, they think it's a solid plan that you present to them. They kind of indicate that maybe they will have. They're going to send out a contingent of people to try and clear the path and kind of provide protection for the people as they're leaving. They do also need to get the word out across the city to as many people, and anything that any of you can do to assist with that would definitely be appreciated. And then they're going to kind of lay a series of ambushes and other sort of things to make it difficult for the landing troops to get to anyone that is evacuating the city. But they like the idea of drawing some of them into a few more focused conflicts, and hopefully that might pull in like the leaders or other people, which will kind of make everyone else a little bit less well led. So let's kind of have you do whatever prep work setup we think we need to do to, like, my questions will be, we need to find out like who gets tricked by your fake ruse. And kind of how effective are you at like pulling people in, and then we'll see how the actual ruse goes. But I think that's like the main question to answer is like how effective is your trick, and then if there's anything you wanted to do to like help tell people about leaving and things like that, we can add that in. So
Yeah, I mean, Senna would definitely like to check in with some spirits to find out which routes seem to have the least number of Fire Nation troops, and then relay that to not Xena, is it?
I mean, I want it to be Xena now, but it's
Zira.
Zira.
Zira and the resistance.
Very much senpai.
Yeah.
Wasn't Lucy Lawless like hosting a Xena watch along?
Yes.
Thank God, yes.
What?
More like Lucy Flawless.
Your step left.
I have made that joke so many times. I don't know why. All right.
Because it really works very well.
It's good. So, dear Spirit Shaper, how are you going to contact the spirits? What's your intention? It may or may not be a spirit shaping move. We could also roll it into like one of the basic moves as well. You are muted.
You are very muted.
Probably saying things that are very important.
No, it's mostly just me refreshing what the basic moves are.
Yeah, so basic moves, I think there's potentially like a meditate, right? Because you can declare a detail about that subject to be true, right? So you could meditate into the spirit world, learn something from them. I think you also have
Yes, it's the whispering spirits.
Yeah,
that
the
I
whispering
observed
spirits.
carefully.
Mm-hmm. So I think either of those would work.
Okay. I think I want to whispering spirits and choose to answer. Yeah, maybe I'll choose to answer one of them or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think in that one you can decree like what you would learn if you are successul.
Okay.
All
so
right. First roll of the night. Let's do it. So you're going to roll plus keen for observe carefully.
Too many windows. So,
6. Oof.
Oh, just shy.
That's not the best.
You know why? It's because we're still underground. I'm still in a cave.
Messes with the signal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it does. You get some interference.
There's just like, static.
Yeah, you just hear. I think I almost feel like you are. It is kind of that sort of static that like the spirits are just panicked a little bit. To the point that they're not really able to tell you anything helpful. They're just like, they're coming! And they're just like running around like, ah!
Thank you.
Oh man, I'm just imagining those little weird-headed like Princess Mononoke spirits.
Yeah, basically, but
freaking out, running around.
but instead of like cute little bell sounds, they just their mouths are just it's just a high-pitched screech.
And only I can hear it.
Yeah. Yep. You're like, ah.
Are you like shouting when you're talking to anyone else?
I don't think they know anything. Or they're very scared right now.
So, helping people get out of the city. Anything else you want to do?
I think
If not, we can
Aki's-
jump straight to getting the Fire Nation.
I think Aki's like particular role in all of this is going to be leading people down the route we want them to go, because Wire Fu means I can just like matrix my way across walls and like do a million backflips and stuff's fine. I can just get out of there. So I think my plan is like once they arrive, I need to bring them to this cave, right? That we want to ambush them in.
Yeah, so you want to lead the Fire Nation to the cave. That's kind of your intention.
I think that's my intention. And I also think that like she doesn't really involve herself too much in the organizing of the like departure because she feels like her best suggestion was for everybody to just give up. And that doesn't really feel like the whole fighting spirit kind of deal,
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
But she best keep to her own, like, do the superhero distraction stuff rather than
I don't mean to be
rallying the
defeatist,
people.
but maybe we should just be defeated.
Maybe we should just be defeated.
Yeah. So Aki, are you gonna like call their attention, or are you just gonna be following along the Fire Nation?
I mean, I'm definitely gonna
like-
get their attention.
Okay.
I'm going like, there's a scene of like full suiting up Olive Fox style once again to really draw their eye.
So there was a mention of an informant, right? How are you getting?
Oh yeah, that's my whole deal, isn't it?
Well, it doesn't have to be. It can also go through someone else. Like,
Yeah.
you do know about the spy. Like, you could try and orchestrate some sort of, like, you get observed
Ooh.
talking about the secret plan because, Cerise. There are a lot of ways you can go about doing it. You just kind of need to tell me what your intention is.
I mean, I could deceive the informant.
Yeah.
I just want my family to be okay. So if you want to
pull, like,
meeting at the farm,
innocent Earth's Nation soldier person and just like be the informant. Yeah.
That's a big responsibility. Do you feel up to that, Cerise?
yeah. If you wouldn't mind going to get Grandma Avo and getting her to safety.
Yeah, we can do
I don't want her to worry. So don't tell her that I got punched in the face by a fireman.
Senna and I will go make sure she's safe and go get the area ready. If you're up for coming with me, Senna.
Before Rill walks off, Cerise reaches out and grabs by the hand. Hey, secret handshake?
Of course.
A series
Really
of
complicated,
overconvoluted
super
gestures.
complicated.
Some bird calls. It's fun.
Hey, take care. You too, Senna.
We'll see you soon. You can do this.
Thank you. And Cerise walks off.
All right. So Cerise is doing something dangerous. The Olifox dramatically gearing up.
On Cerise's on Cerise's hip, he still does have a version of the Olive Fox mask that's kind of broken that he just kind of keeps in a pocket on his hip, covered in a bit of fabric.
Even after all these reveals about how I'm terrible.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Cerise still believes
You're
in
still
you.
his idol.
Cerise, not known for his judgment.
Fair.
Known for his heart, for his passion. All right. In which case, Rill and Senna. What are these two of you doing? The other two are preparing. We probably need to set
cherry
up
farm.
who's at the cherry farm and like what that's gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the two of us will go. We're going to meet with the rest of my cell, which will help prepare, and then possibly any earthbenders they were able to requisition us.
Yeah, let's say how many people do you think are in your like the cell that you are in charge of?
Yeah, I think like 6 additional people.
Cool. They probably got 2 earthbenders. So there are
Cool.
8 extra people who are all there.
Awesome. Senna, so I think as we're getting up, we'll definitely want to go meet Grandma Avo. Senna, do you want to come in there and talk to her?
I will come in and stand behind you and support what you say, since I'm worried she might try to hit me with a ladle.
I'll keep you in between the little distance. Don't worry.
Yeah.
All right. As my team I'm gonna wait until we get Grandma Avo's permission to sort of start possibly laying traps and otherwise messing up this point.
I like
Cherry
it.
caltrops.
Some cherry
Yes,
caltrops.
exactly. So
So you knock on the door. You hear like the Grandma Ava like, come in.
I feel like maybe she shouldn't just let people in when there's Fire Nation people.
She's Grandma Ava.
She's got a ladle. She can handle it. She actually in the second episode she chased off like people. So she's pretty solid. Yeah.
They wouldn't knock if they were Fire Nation. They would just knock down the door. So
I think she also keeps a bag of rocks with her at most times.
what? Don't
Great.
you?
I'm so excited to enter
their
this
pits.
Avocado pits. They make excellent projectiles.
And as soon as they hit someone, they bounce off. They can grow avocados. It's great.
It's very efficient.
Farming, assault farming.
So she says, "Come in. I'm making soup."
Oh. Are you almost done?
No, I just started. The stock
Oh,
has got
goody.
another 8 hours.
Oh no.
You can't rush these things. So, Rill, what brings you here? And they're very clearly not paying attention, chopping up
Yep.
some onions.
Grandma Avo,
Mm-hmm.
I know we hoped we could not have to see this day, but the Fire Nation is coming to the city today, quite possibly, or imminently.
I hear what you're probably going to say next. Something, evacuation. I am not leaving this farm. I was born here and I'll die here.
I don't think Cerise would want that.
Where is that boy?
Cerise specifically asked us to make sure you get to safety.
It's my farm.
The Fire Nation is coming not just to TAKU, but here. We've been working with some resistance fighters, and we're going to halt some of their forces here while the rest of the city, including you, gets to safety.
But my soup isn't finished. It won't be finished for several hours. I'm not packed. I can't just up and leave. I'm not a young sapling like you. I've become a lot more southern than I think Ava
I know,
was
Grandma
previously.
Avo taking a trip down to Georgia.
Grandma Avo. She's from the south of the Earth Kingdom.
Aren't we in the north of the Earth Kingdom? The west?
The southern part of the north end of the.
Okay.
of the Earth
I'm part
Kingdom.
of the southern northern Earth Kingdom, you know.
On the west side.
Got it.
Important. No one wants to be from the
Got it.
north, south
Did
of the...
Cerise just send us because he knew he wasn't going to be able to convince Avo to leave?
No, Cerise's
is
job
quite
of tricking the informant is a safer job than this one. So.
I should have seen this coming.
Yeah.
I feel like such a fool.
Yeah.
Dude.
Look, I know you're
Dude.
well-meaning. I know you and your little band of fighters are well-meaning, but I can't just up and leave this farm. It's been in the family for generations. We have memories here.
No. All right, here's my big gun I'm pulling out.
Okay.
Grandma Avo, and I come up and I take her hands. Cerise and Senna and I were on a ship. It was a Fire Nation ship, and Cerise.
I
is
told
hurt.
that boy.
Cerise is hurt. He's okay, but this is getting very serious, and I know that he can't stand to lose you, and neither could I.
Where am I throwing
Please.
pits?
Help us. Yeah. He'll be back soon, but maybe not before the Fire Nation is here. We need to get you to safety, or at least...
Okay. You
Okay.
on one condition. She pulls up her ladle.
Okay.
Puts it in your
Back.
hands.
Do you want us to finish the soup?
Do not let this soup burn.
I can do that.
I will
Senna,
know.
I'm going to need some help. Grandma Avo's soup is very complicated and finicky.
I will know.
I feel like between the two of us, we can probably figure it out.
We can do it.
She rolls up her sleeves. All right. Seems like
that'll
some
go.
villagers are gonna need some leadership.
I mean, are you going to say no to
Wait,
her?
does Grandma Avo actually run her own cell of the resistance that we don't know about?
She's gonna by the end of it. She
Yeah.
picks up her bag and it clinks and it's just her rock bag. Her throwing rocks. She's like, all right, I'll make sure they get out safely. You don't let that soup burn. And you don't let Cerise get hurt again.
Cerise will not get hurt again.
I'm looking at you, both of you. And whatever things you're bringing to this farm, I give you permission.
Aw.
You may summon
Thank
a
you.
panda. This one
That's
time.
huge. That's huge.
One time. She
We won't squander this opportunity.
No, we will not.
Do it right.
picks up some other things and slowly shuffles her way out.
Yeah. Awesome.
And then as she's about to leave, don't let it burn.
It won't burn.
Closes the door.
Stirring it gently.
And then you just hear somewhere in the distance later, get yourselves moving! These feet won't move themselves! Hop to it! She's
Grandma
suddenly
was born for this. It's perfect.
leading the caravan of people on their way out. That's
All right.
Grandma Avu. So you have the
Yep.
farm to yourself now.
Yep.
And a pot of soup that's can't burn.
We're going to be watching that soup. We're
It
going to
is
be laying some
it
traps.
is vital that you not
We
burn
might
the
be trying to.
soup.
We might be thinking about calling a panda spirit. We'll see.
Maybe the panda spirit could stir the soup.
I feel like that's underutilizing the panda spirit.
Well, it's fair. I'm not a spirit bender, so I wouldn't know.
Soup is a noble profession.
Yes. My big mystery is the last time I summoned the panda spirit, I asked them to help with the cherry crop.
Uh-huh.
And it ended up destroying it. So do I ask them to take care of the Fire Nation so that they will destroy the Fire Nation? Or do I ask them?
Take care can be used in so many different ways.
Oh, that
so
was my
they
trouble.
could take care of them or they could take care of them.
Mm.
So,
Oops.
we'll see how well a
Turns
panda
out-
understands.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Words matter with spirits.
I know. Or maybe they don't. It might just be that they don't understand words. Hard to say. All right, so you're gonna lay some traps on the farm. I feel like as the Fire Nation arrives is maybe when we can resolve said traps and see whether or not they spring them. And
Good.
I guess that means we're gonna go to we sort of leave Senna and Rill preparing the farm. If you want to like summon some spirits or anything and like set them up or whatever, feel free to let me know.
I'm gonna get some sentinels to
Oh, I like
watch
that.
the perimeter.
I like that. What would sentinel
Nice.
spirits be?
I think most of them are probably gonna be like bird hawk-like spirits that can kind of take high perches. Though I think that little bunny spirit is going to just decide it wants to join anyway.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
So it's going to watch the road.
Okay, I got it. I'm on it. I'm watching the road. I just like looked down.
And let us, and yes, you'll get my attention when stuff.
Okay,
when
I'll
Fire
yell
Nation start coming.
really loud.
Yep, I'll do one that can hear that. It's great.
I'm watching. There's nothing happening yet.
Don't need to yell until something does happen.
Still nothing.
I'm not yelling.
That probably goes on for a little while longer than you might want it to before it figures out. Oh, so I say nothing. It's not that I speak normally when nothing's happening and loud when something's I speak not at all when nothing's happening and only loud when something's happening. Oh, okay.
But I appreciate your attention to detail.
Wait, was I allowed to say so? Oh no, I'm sorry. I didn't want to. Is this something? Am I? Oh no, I'm okay. I'm gonna make notes now. I like start writing stuff in the ground.
Can I give you a little ear scratch?
Yes. And that's.
Thank you very
funny.
much.
All right. Cerise, I guess.
Yeah.
Aki, do you tail Cerise or something like that? Are you?
I gotta keep an eye out, right?
You're gonna keep an
Like,
eye out.
You know, just in case.
Okay.
From a distance,
All right.
probably.
Yeah, no, I think that makes
On a rooftop, lurking.
the best place for lurking.
Yep.
Only the cool people lurk on rooftops.
No, only the really edgy, cool people.
All right. So Cerise, what's your game plan here?
Cerise's game plan is essentially to find someone who looks like they have some authority and give them a tip.
You mean find like a Fire Nation person who looks like they have
Correct.
authority? How are you going to do that? They're not like in
well,
the
that's
city necessarily.
Kind of the
yet.
way Cerise does anything, which is loudly. Cerise kind of walks towards. I guess not, because they're not directly in the city. Kind of walks around the perimeter and just yells, "Fire Nation troops! I need your help! I can help you! Fire Nation troops! Hello?
Oh, goodness.
Oh, woe is me! Secrets!"
I guess you're trying to speak honorably.
"I have an anonymous tip. Me, Cerise," says Mangled Pork. That's perfect.
That seems like what you're trying to do. You're trying to persuade, convince, or manipulate them.
Sure.
So give me a roll plus natural.
Okay.
Unless
Luckily,
you
I'm
have
not
a
good at
peasant ability that seems particularly relevant
Ooh.
for this.
I don't know if Fool's Luck, which is a maximum fortune, that doesn't really help.
Oh no, but it does give you additional fortune, which fortune does allow you to not get tagged.
Oh, so there we go.
Yeah, that's a thing that you can use later.
Okay, I'm gonna roll natural. 10.
Ooh, all right.
That's
So
dang.
on
Okay.
a 10, that's good. That's good. That means you get what you want. And you get to tag the character appropriately. So, what do you want to stumble upon? You said you wanted to stumble upon someone with authority. What like Marcus would that kind of mean to you?
So either I think looking for someone who can get things done or share something, or someone who's willing enough to want to move up to not want to hurt me, to take a tip. To take a tip that'll be like, oh, I'm going to get up, I'm going to advance. This is going to be I'm going to help. I'm going to be the one. So I'm kind of looking for someone a little more on the gullible side, obviously. But it's yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for.
You want someone who's like mid-level management who wants to advance higher.
Exactly. And I think that's exactly what you find. They're not like in charge, but they're like enough that they're like they'll be believed, but they have a personal like, oh yeah, I definitely want to find this out. So as you are like yelling, kind of wandering through the outskirts, like in the kind of open, like woodlandy, fieldy areas between the city and
secrets,
the distance.
Fire Nation secrets.
I think you just get like you sort of emerging from the trees are probably like 3 Fire Nation soldiers. One of them like having whatever sort of insignia and indicates like a captain or something. Kind of steps out from the trees. Their face unreadable behind their masks, and they kind of stand there and they sort of like do that slight surround you, and they try and do the like well what, so they stand sort of moment as they're like, what do we have here? You're causing quite the ruckus.
Cerise kind of freezes for a second, now having to execute his plan. Then puts his hand on the pouch, the pocket that contains the Olive Fox's mask, and just.
I am watching, always watching.
Oh, I'm so glad I found you. I need your help. I heard some whispering, some secrets from something called the Resistance. They're looking to overthrow you in the city. They have a plan for. And Cerise just starts kind of crying a little bit and goes down to a knee using his acting skills.
As you're doing this, the Fire Nation captain, he like takes a step forward, gets like closer to you, like clearly trying to sort of intimidate you into honesty or something, and he sort of looks and he's like, how did you get this information?
Sniffly and sneezy, eyes tearing, full acting, using all of the various acting things he needs, tearing up, snot dripping from his nose a little bit, grabs the Fire Nation guys, the bottom of his thing goes into the Fire Nation guys thing. It's terrible. It's all terrible.
So gross.
They said they were gonna meet up at this cherry farm down the way. It's down this road. If you go that way to the left and take a corner thing around the tree, and then if you go behind the tree, go left, but not left from behind the tree, left from in front of the tree. So you go around the tree and you can look up the tree and you can see it, or you can walk around the path down to the sideway. It's pretty.
You seem quite familiar with this location, and he like reaches down and he pulls you up by the shirt.
I'm just a farmer. They want to meet at my farm.
Why are you telling us this?
Because I want to get my grandma out. I can tell you exactly when they're going to meet. I can give you a time. I could place almost the entire population of TAKU is going to be there. I just want to get my grandma out. She's old and she needs help. Everything else, you can have the farm. I just need to get her out. Okay? Please.
All right, give me, I feel like this is speak honorably again.
Let's see.
You got a +0. I feel like there's no one to help you.
Could the Olive Fox morally support me from the distance?
Could I support
potentially
with my supportive gaze?
Who doesn't love supportive gaze?
I love the idea that like the Olive Fox shows up, just in Cerise's view.
Now, yeah,
like,
what it is
that infusion
behind them.
I'm standing on the rooftop behind the Fire Nation guy,
right.
and I like actually stand up instead of being like all hidden and show myself.
Make
for
mask eye
Cerise
contact.
Inspiration. Yeah.
With Cerise. Okay, so you roll just a flat roll. I guess Cerise, do you respect Aki?
So I currently do have respect the Olive Fox, and
So that
having get to know Aki also, I think
count
that would the answer is yes.
all
I
right.
would say
So in
yes.
which case you actually roll +2. Then.
Oh, cool.
I approve.
Because if they respect, all right. Let's
I
see.
rolled a 6.
Oh, dang!
Holy shit!
Okay. Oh wow, it was covering. I couldn't find
Yeah.
it.
Didn't even need me.
You're-
Not even for a second.
Your 8 was not enough. However, actually, no, you would technically have still added the +2 because you rolled an 8. So with a 14 is what it ends up being. Because I had a couple of different options here. The commander, Captain, he pulls you up. Tell us again where this place is. And exactly what time and exactly when. Then go get your grandmother and get out. And I'll make sure no one attacks you. Let's the two of you escape. You silently write all this down.
Here it is, and it's a really good map. It looks just like this. But Cerise definitely does mention a time that we all agreed on and that we all
We'll say,
organized and discussed.
Sunset? I don't know.
Sunset seems safe
Sunset
because
seems...
I would think just after sunset.
It seems dramatic. So
yeah, so I think that would be the and again, one of the benefit once it gets a little bit darker. All the cherry trees kind of look like people are down there, so they really won't be able to tell if there's lots of people.
It also gives us time to finish the soup and eat it.
Yeah,
and make sure it's properly stored. You do want to make sure that soup is shelf
Yeah,
stable.
the extras are very important.
Yeah.
Leftovers.
So upon seeing this,
you have
Cerise writes it down.
10 people to feed, so.
Yeah. Cerise.
As Imp suggested, is this on the back of your wanted poster?
You'll actually 100% yes. And as soon as he kind of notices that, he just kind of folds the back end over the face of the wanted poster and just keeps going. Puts it in the pocket. Says, I can't thank you enough. And then wipes his nose again on the Fire Nation shirt. I'll go. Just
get out. And they throw you down.
Cerise falls and kind of, thank you. And kind of bows. He's not sure what to do. You're welcome, Your Honor. And just runs off.
All right. Beautiful. They're like, excellent. This will earn me my promotion for sure.
Now get the Christmas bonus.
I'll be the new commander now. Shu lost his ship. It's my ship now. And that will draw the ambush. Draw the Fire Nation to you. So, Cerise, do you head back to the farm?
I think Cerise makes one stop to the place where they were getting ready last time before they headed out and he's picking up his cherry suit.
Isn't
essentially
that on the farm?
I think he brought it. It was with him when he changed into the fake gear.
Oh,
so it's somewhere in the city on the way home. So he'll
at
stop
the
by.
Tipsy Badger Mole or something?
I can't remember the exact location. I'm sure there's an incredibly in-depth part about it in the wiki, but I can't remember the exact location.
But you go to that exact location and you get it.
Exactly.
Yes. So there are no flaws in the retelling of this and no continuity errors.
Yep, 100%.
Yep. All right. So you acquire your cherry suit. I think you see in that location, wherever that location may be, there are people gathering their stuff together, preparing it, loading things on carts. The whole city is kind of in this, what people are left are in this flurry of activity of trying to leave and evacuate as quickly as possible. And I suspect there's always been this kind of impending sense that this might need to happen. So people are, as you should be, prepared for the inevitable disaster that would be a Fire Nation attack. Make sure you have your 3-day emergency kit in your homes. You just PSA there. And so I think there's also a certain amount of people are prepared for this. This is a thing that is possible for them to gather their things and leave quickly. But yeah, you are seen running with your cherry suit costume through the streets of TAKU.
Perfect.
It is not subtle.
No, it doesn't need to be.
No. And Aki, are you going to follow Commander not Shoe, I guess Commander
The
Glove,
other guy.
like
Boot.
Commander Boot.
I mean, I guess probably I keep an eye on what's going on sort of nearer to the shoreline, right? Like,
Okay.
My job is to create enough of a ruckus that people want to follow me, so I need to be in a position to do that when the time comes.
All right. Well, in which case, all of you are set. Cerise will arrive back at the farm. The resistance cell will set themselves up for whatever it is they're doing. The soup, it's perfect. It's delicious. You serve it. You all feel
Nice, Senna. Nice,
refreshed and energized on Grandma's avocado soup. And Aki, you are in position waiting for the Fire Nation troops to try and take down this resistance meeting that's going to be taking place at this farm while the rest of the city begins to evacuate as quickly as possible. In the distance, we see Grandma Avo throwing rocks at some, like, Fire Nation patrols, being like, "Get off of our route!" And I think that's a good place for us to take a break before we come back to...
Let's do it.
To whatever happens, I guess.
To whatever happens, I guess. All right. We will see you back in a few moments. So stay with us. We'll be right back. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I hope you had a refreshing break. I'm muted? No audio. No. I see audio.
I can hear you.
I can hear you as well.
Perhaps Imp is the one with
audio's
no.
good. All right, Imp.
Maybe.
We're gonna blame Imp.
Maybe Imp, it's you who has no audio.
Perhaps it is you.
Still nothing.
Best character. No, I'm kidding. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I hope you had a refreshing break and you did all those things, peed and got alcohol. I don't know.
Just those two. Those two things specifically. We hope you did
Peyton
them.
got alcohol.
I hope
Yeah,
you did
those
them
two.
at the same time. No, I kid. For whatever reason, I'm always like, I'm going to go to the bathroom and get some coffee. And they're like, why is your coffee in the bathroom? And I'm like, my chat's full of trolls. Anyway.
Square footage is also hard.
That is a good question, though, Lauren. Why is your coffee in the bathroom?
I did stay in a place.
Oh, I'm
New
in
York
charge
once
of
that
this.
they have a
I
coffee in the
can
bathroom.
mute people. I have the power.
I mean, in college, we kept our ramen pot maker in the shared bathroom in our college dorm suite. So like
That does
that
sound
was
like
the only
college,
sink
yeah.
we had. So it was just like a ramen just sat in the bathroom. It's fine.
All right. So now
Okay,
that
I'm
I've
sorry for that distraction.
gone on my
What
little
are we-
power trip there.
What are we
If you're
doing?
just joining us, welcome back. This is an RPG set in the universe of Avatar: The Last Airbender / Legend of Korra. Set about 100 years before the events of the show, and our intrepid protagonists of this story are currently facing off of the impending Fire Nation invasion and destruction or takeover of the city of TAKU, where our story is set. And they are, the city is basically in the midst of an evacuation, knowing that the Fire Nation, like, they sent in the big gunships this time, not just Commander Shu. He's been booted out of here. And,
Oh, I just got what you did. No, boo.
and, they are now sending in the bigger, more important Fire Nation people.
Galoshes.
The head ponchos instead of, because
Ponchos?
poncho's a different outfit thing that you can wear. Anyway, there's a big fight that's gonna happen. So they're doing what they do best, which is creating a distraction. I really feel like at this moment they've combined so far their two tactics: distracting and acting. Yeah, basically putting on a play.
Theater.
And they're putting those things together. They have convinced the Fire Nation that there is a substantive resistance meeting that is going to be held at the Avo family farm that very evening, and that they should, and the sad and bereft? That's not the word I'm looking for. The sad cherry farmer, Cerise, gave them a tip that they should go to this location at this particular time. And they were thoroughly convinced by that. So they're going to send a contingent of Fire Nation soldiers there to try and, stop this group of resistance fighters, put an end to TAKU and their silly, rebellious ways, stamp them out, and then surely earn that promotion in no time, because that is clearly the most important thing to every Fire Nation soldier, it seems like.
Yeah.
So they're gonna send some people in there, which leaves us to each of you and your respective oh my god, Fabric, get out of the chat.
So good.
It is Taku Tuesday.
Oh, Maris, this is wonderful.
So
It was a moment of inspiration.
I wish I could retweet a chat item.
Yeah.
I guess you could take a picture of it and then tweet it.
Oh, looks like someone made it the first episode. See, our followers are brilliant.
Yeah.
It's true.
So, you are all in position. Cerise and Senna and Rill are at the Avo family farm, along with the other members of the cell. There's a couple of earthbenders and 6 other members of Rill's resistance cell. What have you set up? What does it look like on this farm? We know that there's a cave with an open top where many of the cherry trees grow in. Although I imagine your farm has expanded, so not all of them are in this cave.
A huge amount of them are, but definitely it leads. They clearly, if you go to the end of the cave, that's when the cherry stops. So it's pretty much all the way back.
Okay.
Well, we've set up dinner at the table for all the folks who are prepping. So
are you
we having,
inside the
a quiet dinner?
house, or are you pretending to be in the farm and you've set up dinner in the farm?
I always assumed the house was in the cave. Is that not correct?
It's just outside. Am I wrong?
Yeah, it's.
I don't know.
It's
Didn't you see Marcus's map earlier?
I think it pretty clearly indicates that here is the route to the farm. This is the farm over here, and the house is, if you just zoom in real close, right there. I need to cut my nails. It's quarantine zone. I need to cut my nails. So yes, the farm is just outside of the cave. It does have a tunnel out of the back of the house leading into.
That's what I was thinking about, because we went from the cave into the house once, and that's definitely where yes.
There's a nice little back section.
Oh, we've just brought the soup into the cave. Let's just say that.
Okay.
Cave soup.
So you have cave soup now. You sort of set it up. The pot's sitting on a rock. Mm-hmm. That's the soup rock.
Stack of bowls for people to come get their stuff after they finish doing what they're doing.
Okay.
I think some of the stuff we maybe did was working with the earthbenders and good old-fashioned shovels and stuff to set up little under. I'm imagining digging trenches that are then kind of
making pit traps?
earth. Yeah, I'm making pit traps. Yeah, and
making pit traps.
Yes.
I think there are places where I'll be able to sort of make things muddy suddenly and sort of hopefully pull the water back out and crack their feet in, sort of stopping different people. So I'm hoping just to basically make it really hard to even get to the cave. And then, I don't know, I'll probably ask Cerise, is this a collapse the cave onto people sort of situation? Right? The walls of the cave could be, if we lure them inside and bring the walls down.
So
they wouldn't like that much.
Cerise is kind of that, since they're all kind of in the cave part of it, eating around the area. Cerise kind of gestures for Will or Rill to follow him, and they just kind of walk towards the very back of the cave.
Mm-hmm.
And Cerise is staying a little bit ahead and not really talking, but just come on. I want to show you something.
I've been in here 100 times.
I know. I just want to take you to my favorite spot, if that's okay.
Yeah.
They make their way slowly, but with purpose. Cerese's head is down. He's moving forward. He knows that this might be the last time he gets to see this place as is.
Yeah.
He walks to the back, and he's at the very end of the cave, and puts his hand up against it, and there is a spot that's slightly bigger than his hand, a handprint almost, in that spot. And he puts his hand in there one last time, and all those years ago, this is where it happened. This is the exact spot where my grandpa was killed. I think he would have wanted us to. I think he would have wanted us to destroy them. I think he would have. And if we take this farm down, then it's worth it, because he gave everything for this farm. And I'm sure he'd get one last laugh out of being able to take out some Fire Nation soldiers with it. So, if you don't mind, could we just sit here for a moment?
Yeah, of course.
Cerese takes a deep breath, hand in the spot, pulls his hand away.
You've left your mark on this place too. I think your grandpa would be so proud to have seen what you've done and all you've accomplished and how you've grown. If you'll let me, I would like to take Cerese's hand and sort of press it next to the handprint, and use water bending to sort of wear away at the stone just a little bit gently in the shape of the handprint. I can't earth bend, but my family's deal is shaping stone through wear via water. And so I think I would love to leave a handprint of yours.
Totally happens.
Okay.
Yeah. A couple. Cerese just starts like crying a little bit. He just starts sobbing a little bit, but he's trying to keep it in. He's just like, but it's like welling, and you can see like the almost the big comical.
You got anime tears going on,
spraying and like soaking the watering the cherries one last time with his tears. And,
it's not how you water cherries.
It's not how you water cherries. Too much salt. I can give you some cherry facts. So Cerese just. And then squeezes their hand, squeezes Rill's hand, and thank you.
Thank you.
He reaches up and plucks some cherries, rips one in half, and just cherry pals.
Cherry pals.
tosses it over to.
Really.
And then they, I guess they. He takes
Let's
one last look at the hands, and let's do this.
All right, so your plan is lure him in and collapse the cave?
Slow them down, lure the rest in, collapse the cave, and I don't know what spirits we do or do not have on hand, but
I am super ready.
Yes.
Yeah, but beyond that,
Senna is off meditating to see if she can channel in a particular panda spirit.
Oh, you want to bring on the old panda friend? I think in this instance, is there a particular like spirit shaper move that you were thinking of doing? Or do you just want to we can just kind of make it a speak honorably, you roll and call out to the spirits and see who responds, because that totally works.
I think
too.
I wanted to
meditate.
kind of a speak honorably,
like yo panda,
beseech the spirits. You came once to this farm.
Okay,
maybe do the same thing again.
This is the panda. Hello.
Oh, hi, panda.
Okay. Pandas and dogs sound the same. I only have one voice.
Well, pandogs.
Pandogs.
Oh.
So
I mean,
so you
in this world, probably.
describe your it's a panda dog. Describe your calling out to this panda, and then I'll talk to them. Panda.
As I'm meditating, I actually kind of like meditate, not quite like enter the spirit realm, but kind of like my mind goes there, and so I'm kind of looking around, kind of calling for them, looking for them, saying I'm not quite sure why or how you came to answer my call last time, but we could really use your help defending the good people of TAKU from the and protecting this farm from the Fire Nation.
I feel like as you meditate and you reach out, like, are you sitting next to a tree or anything?
Oh yes.
The tree starts to like bend and sort of shake a little bit, and then you kind of open your spirit realm eyes, whatever that means to you, and there's just like a panda bear like scratching its back on this tree. Oh, hello.
I'm chewing on one of the branches.
Pulls a branch down. Like no one else can see it except the tree just like bends and then like snap, and a branch comes off, starts eating it, just putting all the cherries in its mouth. Hello.
Hello. You are welcome to have all the cherries that you want. If
Panda's
you can,
eyes get
if you can
very
help
big.
us tonight.
I can have all the cherries.
Mm-hmm.
These are the best cherries in the whole Earth Kingdom.
Cerise, they say that this is the best cherries in the entire Earth Kingdom.
Cerise just does that dance that I just did.
Okay.
Delicious. I can have all of them? What?
Yeah.
What do I have to do to get all the cherries? Scratch,
There will
scratch,
be
scratch,
some very bad people who are going to show up and
Are
head
they
into that
going to
cave.
take my cherries from me?
They're totally going to try to take your cherries. And your job is to help trap them in the cave and keep them from your cherries.
But the cherries are in the cave. Why would I want to keep them in the cave with the cherries?
I think there's some cherries out here too.
The best cherries are in the back of the cave.
That's not helping.
It's not
That's in fact the opposite.
Well, I
mean,
can't hear the conversation, so Cerise just says the best cherries are in the back of the cave. So you can tell them that if you want.
you can start there and wait until they show up. And then when you trap them, then you can eat the rest of the ones out here.
Okay, so first I eat all the cherries inside the cave, and then I can eat the ones outside of the cave. And I need to stop the bad people from eating all my cherries.
Yes. You'll know because they'll try to set fire to your cherries.
Will she be there? The
no,
one
she's
who
already
threw
left.
the stones at me last time. I didn't
She
like those rocks. They didn't
No.
taste good.
Oh. No, she has already left to help other people in the town get away.
So all the cherries really are mine.
Yes.
Okay.
Yay!
I will eat all the cherries, and then I will stop them from eating the cherries
Yes.
that are mine.
Yes, they are your cherries. So
I
I've just given all the cherries to
kind of want you to make a
They have-
speak honorably roll just to
Yeah.
see how much
Can I
this
help?
panda understood of
That's
what
fair.
you're trying to get
and
it
how
to do.
how much the ratio of cherry to stopping Fire Nation.
Yeah.
What is the? Does the panda have a name?
I believe
don't
it is
know.
Beihai.
Beihai.
Yeah.
I could
Assuming it's the
because you
same
just
panda.
if you just if Cerise knows this information and you just said, hey, I give the farm to Cerise, like you just did, Cerise could write in the mud their name and Cherry Farm. Would that convince the
You
panda? I don't-
can help if you would like. I will
Yes.
accept that as a helping action.
Okay.
Generous of you.
So Cerise, do you respect no. Senna, do you respect Cerise?
I don't think Cerise and I have
Okay.
that relationship.
Cool. In which case then Marcus just roll a flat 2d6.
Yeah, all I did was, I mean, I don't know if it's an oath or what, but it was because I summoned a spirit for
Yeah, I
him.
don't think that helps you in this instance.
I don't think that helps me at all.
All right, so you you do succeed. So add +2 to your roll, Senna.
Okay.
However, Cerise, whatever trouble that occurs, you'll get yourself into some trouble as a result of this.
That does sound like, well, I like keeping my characters
Oh,
consistent.
come on!
Oh,
You get a 10. It's okay.
Oh, we're good.
The red just means one of your dice was really bad.
10
I
is a
rolled
good
5
roll.
and a 1.
Wow. 10 is a good roll. Okay, so with a success, the panda seems, Beihai the panda seems to have understood that he owns the farm. All of the cherries are his. He doesn't actually care about the farm. He just, all the cherries are his.
Oh yeah, the business part.
First, he will eat all the ones in the cave. Then he will stop the people who come into the cave, keep them in the cave so he can eat the ones outside of the cave.
Yes.
And all the cherries are his. And Cerise writes down, like, all the cherries belong to Beihai the panda spirit
Correct.
on the ground. And he's like, that's my name. If it's written here, it must mean it's mine.
It is.
And he
Lauren needs
just
to play
begins
pandas more often.
lumbering in, except he's like big, and so he like brushes past some trees, and we see like one of them like bend over, and then anyone who is currently in the cave, you just see like a bunch of tree branches just get like pulled off and torn off, and like the cherry in the branch just like slowly disappears into like kind of an ethereal nothingness as Beihai is consuming the cherries and also parts of the trees attached to the cherries.
I hate that cherries aren't in season right now because I want cherries more than anything in the
I'm
world.
so sorry.
I
Soon,
want
pretty
cherries.
soon, we'll have cherries. They're like an early summer thing, and it's already April.
We're getting closer.
That can't be right.
I know, right?
No.
Pretty sure it's December.
It's April. Halfway through April. All right, so Beihai is on it.
Why must you remind me of the real date and time?
Oh no.
It's fine. It may be April, but time has no
Just
meaning.
calm yourself knowing that the entire Fire Nation is coming to kill us all.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right. Beihai is prepared. You have permission to collapse the cherry cave. And I think that will bring us back to Aki then.
I am trying to decide
Yeah, because
very
begin mobilizing.
serious, very potentially completely damning choices that I could make here. Because I am alone in this. And if I want to survive and not be dead or captured, then this is the time to triple agent, like right now. My job is complete.
Yeah, I mean it is.
My-
You're not wrong. You got your revenge.
My revenge is complete, and I'm just trying to decide how
much like elf is Aki?
how guilty will I feel doing that?
Where is Aki right now?
She's overlooking the probably the like shoreline, waiting for these soldiers to land. Probably watching the like rafts or the boats like row in from
Yeah, you see
from
like
the large
them
ships. Like there's probably a you know, it's that weight of numbers that is you know, like would break anybody's morale. At least seeing that kind of thing. Like the hope is low, right? And I'm not sure because like,
do you like need or want like something to push you in one direction or the other?
I think I need a role of some kind, right?
Okay.
To determine.
You respect me.
One
It's
of the
true that I do, and I said I would do you no harm, but also I would be doing you no harm. I would leave that entirely to everyone else.
So what if one of the Cerise's wanted posters just happens to blow by you? Here's just a gust of guilt.
in
Wow,
your face.
Wow.
a plot guilt.
So I think she she like that hat like a paper, you know,
Yeah.
flutters by, and she grabs it out of the air, and she looks at it, and it's like Cerise's Olive Fox wanted poster, and she stares at it for like a few silent moments as it like flutters in her hand. And I'm gonna make a roll,
Okay.
because I can't make this decision on my own, and dice will help me.
Totally fair. My instinct would be to say this could be a stand fast, right? To act
Yeah, like
under
a
pressure.
morale.
Mm-hmm.
Stand fast is definitely probably the thing, which is solid, right?
Yep. Which I don't think is particularly good for you.
I have 1 in it, so it's
Yeah.
not terrible.
Oh.
Let's see.
Let's see how the
go
dice roll.
with a stand fast.
We hand it to the fates.
Oh, she stands so fast!
Like the fastest.
She stands so fast. She holds
She's
her
a
moral
boulder.
ground. She holds her moral
Ooh, an
ground. and
11.
She doesn't cave to the idea that like nobody would know it was her, and she could just go back to working for the Fire Nation. And
Because maybe in that moment she would realize like she would know, and she would be working with
And,
people like
yeah.
Shu, and she
there
doesn't.
would be guilt. You know, there would be too much guilt, and she, in resolving that, she pulls the like Olive Fox mask down back over her face, and sets to like finding a spot to catch the attention of these soldiers as they enter. They enter the town, because they'll be coming up from the shore, right? Like the
So I
docks or
think
the shore.
you see you see like a particular landing party that because you were following Cerise before, you probably recognize the insignia or the uniform of whoever the leader is. And they're maybe slightly off to the side. There's other people kind of landing in the city, but you see that there are like resistance people that are already there, like dropping boulders and shit
So
on them.
I think there's like a street or something between two buildings that
for sure.
Some of these Fire Nation have to come up at least. She takes a position in like the middle of the road.
And so you see this
with her sword in her hand.
You see the captain that, or command, whatever, that Cerise had talked to. He's like leading a group of Fire Nation soldiers, and they like round a corner and they see you standing there in the middle of the street, and they kind of all immediately take like their defensive positions.
I think this is where I gotta do like some kind of cool taunt, right? Like that's
You tell me.
That's the movie. That's the movie.
Aki's standing in the middle of the road.
She's standing in the middle of the road, and I think she had her sword like up in sort of an aggressive or like defensive posture in front of her, and she just like drops it to the side of her, and like shrugs at them like come on, are we doing this or what? But she doesn't say anything because the Olive Fox doesn't say things.
Yeah, well, no, the Olive Fox is too cool for that.
Very laconic.
I think the commander, he kind of like looks back at his soldiers and he sort of, makes a gesture of like, I'll deal with this, like surrender. And he probably steps forward as like surrender or we will kill you. I believe the choice that he gives you.
So she stands there
Surrender
for like
or
a solid 2 seconds and like doesn't move. You get threatened and you just stand there, and then she just bolts.
Wait, that's neither of the things that I said.
She just bolts down the street, like hoping they'll follow her. Basically.
Yeah, I mean, and he's like, this way, she must be put the resistance. That is the Olive Fox. If I ever seen a fox that's green. And they're
chasing me like a gang of soldiers.
But they're not as fast as you. Like you are.
I mean, I can roll fluid if you want me to see if I can do it. But
I think in this moment you definitely had the advantage, and you probably don't need to roll. Like you are
Fair
one,
enough.
they are soldiers. Like this is a very clear moment where you.
I mean,
have
the other thing
advantage
is
on
when I
them.
move with intention, I still get to choose a success.
Yeah.
Regardless of if I fail or not because of wire foo. So safe
greenest
position.
fox
Another
I've
safe
ever
position. A safe position.
Yep. So you book it, and are you making it straight to the farm?
Yeah, I mean, I try and round up some other soldiers if I can, like, intercept people that have not fallen into the traps or what have you, like, on the way along. Like,
So you are trying to gather as many as possible.
Take some back roads, you know,
Alright.
like,
In which
hop
case
over
then-
some fences, that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
let's make a roll for that to see if you're able to
Sure.
do anything extra beyond just like get this
These
group to
guys,
follow you.
yeah.
Yeah. So do a move with intention with your wire
Move
foo.
with intention, wire foo, boopity boot. This 11.
Ooh, very nice.
So on a move with intention, let me just check what I get to do with that. Choose 2 of the following when you succeed. +1 to your next roll, environment tag on the target you're getting position on, or safe from imminent attack. And
Alright,
I'm gonna put a tag on the environment, which is like distracted or
yeah,
like,
I think we can say that the tag is maybe on like the group of soldiers because there's
maybe
basically the main character
the victims
and the
rather
group.
than
Yeah, they are they've been bamboozled.
bamboozled indeed.
Bamboozled. Sure, that it's just a good word, all right, that I can't
is.
spell.
It is a good word.
I definitely just spelled bamboozed.
And so then I lead them directly, once I have all the soldiers I think I can handle, lead them directly to our trap.
All right. You gather together these soldiers and they're running. They're like, I saw her go this way. And they're doing this like, and eventually you dart back and forth between the rooftops and the alleyways. And you sort of get to the edge of the city, out through the outskirts, you start jumping between the trees. And I feel like that's where on the farm you just hear this like voice in your head, Senna, go, oh, something's happening. I see something. Something happening. I promise you it's not nothing this time. You're muted.
I think there's movement out there.
There's a lot. There's a lot of footprints, a lot of rumbles. It's a rumbling.
Apparently it's a rumbling.
Which, perspective-wise, small rabbit, lots of feet. Oh gosh, is it an earthquake?
Okay, let's get to our positions then.
I think it's like shortly after that the olive fox comes barreling through like where the traps are laid, running deftly or leaping deftly over some pit or something.
Yeah.
And takes up her own position of like, and now we fight and defend from here.
I'm really glad we let Aki know what the trap plan was going to be.
Oh, yeah,
of course.
Yeah,
of course.
Oh yeah, the
other
plan of
thing
the
is-
time is all
The
accurate.
other thing is she's a trained professional superhero, so she just
Yeah.
knows.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
She's trap sense.
She has wire foo. Even if she tripped a trap, she'd still be safe from imminent danger.
God, wire food's ridiculous. Ugh, such a good ability.
It's so good.
All right. So, you all are taking up your positions. The sort of thundering feet of the Fire Nation soldiers are appearing behind you, and I feel like this is where we can determine how effective are your traps. So there isn't really like lay trap as a
Yeah.
particular thing
No.
to roll.
Would it be move with intention?
I was like gonna make it, or there's an argument for move with intention. I feel like it's probably just could also be a keen. I think it kind of depends on how we can just make it a stat roll and depend on how you want to set it up, and then by default you can just sort of tag the group of soldiers as appropriate.
Okay.
So what sort of approach do you think Rill and her group would have taken? Is Rill a lot more like hands-on? Crafting
Rill is
the things,
intending
putting them
to-
together, or like directing other people to do it?
I think this is a big enough job that like we spread out and a bunch of people are having to kind of build their own little segments, but I think we kind of split it up geographically, right? Like, in the first wave of them approaching the cave, there's like a couple of traps that we each are sort of triggering or have built, and so I will be kind of outside of the cave at the beginning because I think there's going to be some like creating a mud hot nonsense to make it harder for them to sort of all
my
attack us in a
favorite.
wave.
Hot nonsense.
We
Hot
also
nonsense.
dropped some extra cherries on the ground for like
Oh no.
roly poly.
Oh yeah.
Cherries.
Trip traps.
Love it.
Cherry pits, yeah, like lots of
Yes.
slippery, sloppery.
Yes. So I assume that the panda is spitting out all the cherry pits. So we're just collecting those and
That's
using them
brilliant.
as
Sure. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
as marbles.
Some little
Um,
caltrops.
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
All right. Yep.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So in which case seems like a keen, I think, to set the traps. At least to kind of have the first like wave of them go off, and then it seems like maybe Rill, you're doing like some water shaping for them. So do you want to make this is basically on behalf of the NPCs. Does someone want to make a keen roll to see how this setup went?
I have
Whoever's
a 0 and I
maybe-
trust our NPCs better, so.
Leading it. I could just
I
roll
also
2d6.
have a 0.
Well, great. That's so keen.
All right, I'll roll us 2d6 to see what happens. Let's just do it. All right, I get an 8. I get an 8. So
Should I have more of this aboard?
the assistance on these traps is good, but maybe not the best. There wasn't a lot of time. They were probably distracted by too much soup. They were too full,
Such thing.
too full after all the soup.
It was too good.
Too good, or even just a matter
someone
of like.
brought bread, and
Yeah.
that was really what
Just really
tipped
what-
us
Yeah,
all
that'll
over.
do you
It's
in.
what got people. They were in a hurry, but I think also to an extent, like you didn't necessarily know exactly where the Fire Nation soldiers would approach from. So some of the traps are just laid in places that ended up not being particularly useful. But we hear the sounds of like before they even get into your field of view. We hear just like the sounds of the cartoon noises in the trees, like in the distance approaching, being like, ah! 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 Just lots of yelling and screaming as various people fall into like pit traps or like swinging logs, like swing them out of the way and they go flying. And the numbers are somewhat thinned out as they approach. And so you see the group of you like waiting outside of this cave area, outside of the cherry cave. Like you see the Fire Nation soldiers approach, and they seem a little bit like, sticks and stuff sticking out of all of their various clothing, like some of them emerging, being like, and then you're like there, Rill, as like a horde of them are approaching you. Do you want to water bend? Is there a
I
thing?
sure do.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna lift my staff, and in a
Yeah.
coordinated effort, people are going to be pulling levers and earth
There's,
bending
like,
a little, and I'm going to
Whole
water bend.
irrigation pit to pull from.
Exactly.
Mhm,
Mhm.
mhm.
Yep. All right.
You're
So
just
I'm going to
trying to-
roll water shaping, and let's see how this certainly beautifully coordinated.
Super well
situation's gonna
coordinated.
happen. It's
And
gonna
you're
go
like,
so
and
well.
go.
Mm-hmm. Okay, hang on. Oh my gosh, I have too many things open.
All right.
All right.
Big money, no whammies.
Oh my god.
Kitty.
Yeah, very.
Oh, this is
Ooh,
not.
really
That's
bad.
a.
Okay, it goes very poorly. Cool.
It
what
does
happened?
not.
Ooh.
Whew, well, I don't know. Do you are planning on like?
There's a traitor. There's a traitor in the resistance, and I see them approaching
What?
the Fire Nation.
Yes.
Totally throws off my game.
Yes, there's a face that you recognize. Like there's someone there, and it throws off your game, and you just like slosh some water in a direction, and they're like, I don't know.
There's
tell-
that NPC we helped out, the other farmer.
Oh.
I'm just trying to think of literally any NPC we've named before.
Oh, everyone that's not on a boat
Someone we
sailing
know.
slowly across the water.
God, I don't even know. Doesn't matter.
It's
Doesn't
the
have to be
bartender
important.
from the Badger place.
Oh, that would be
It's a twist.
heartbreaking.
No,
No, can't be
I can't
that.
think of. It's definitely Gary. No,
Marshall?
I see chat. Chat is referencing Gary. It's definitely Gary.
It's definitely
Okay.
it's Gary. I don't even know who
Well,
Gary is, but it's
We
Gary.
are
No one
now.
knows
very
who Gary
upset.
is.
We are
But-
very
but
upset
real-
about Gary's
We are very
treachery.
upset about Gary's last minute plot relevant treachery.
Super relevant. You know what? He was probably the one poisoning the crops, too.
Probably.
Gary. Oh, that makes so much sense. He was
It's
always
all
around this
been
thing.
tied together. There
This
are
whole time.
It's in the notes from the very beginning. Lauren had this plan the whole time.
And so the water bending goes sideways, and just is the highly coordinated attack that we had planned sort of falls apart in its coordination, and the soldiers are still able to advance. Do we retreat into the cave?
Yeah, you tell
I
me.
mean,
That's where the panda's gonna crush us.
Well,
Well, I think you have to
nimbly get
retreat
out.
through the cave.
Lure them in.
We're parting of the Red Sea thing
Okay.
here. Like you go
Got it.
through and then.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, Chewie.
As the display of not sufficient water bending happens, Cerise,
I mean, water is
wearing
bent. It's just.
it's bent in a way, in a manner of speaking. So Cerise is now in the cherry gear, except there's like random pots and things hanging off of it, like reinforced
Why, friend?
battle
Why?
cherry armor. Because every time I've worn it, I haven't gotten in trouble physically. So now Cerise is he grabs some of the various rotten vegetables and things and hurls it at the Fire Nation's face. Anyone in front of it just hurls it at them. The collective face of the Fire Nation.
Okay.
And then runs as far back into the cave as he can, hopefully going to lure them.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like you're acting dishonorably.
I am
acting or committing open violence.
Depending on which one I have a stat for, why don't you let me know?
They're both hot.
Okay, I'd love to do either one of those. They're both very hot. Yes.
I think you probably
It
want to
seems
do
like
commit
open
open
violence.
violence because then you can tag them.
Oh yeah,
You get to tag them appropriately, like goaded.
I like goats, so I'm
Hashtag
gonna roll
keyword.
that one.
Magic keywords. Look, I've been watching a lot of Ikoria pre-release stuff.
12.
Ooh, very nice. So with a 12, you succeed. You hurl rocks at their faces.
Rotten fruit.
Rotten
vegetables.
fruit. Sorry.
We're farmers.
You're farmers. You hurl rotten fruit at their faces. It's gross. It's disgusting. It gets splat, 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 and like gets in their eyes. And they're like, that way! They're in there!
And you see kind of Cerise just like in the big cherry costume, like run like a lizard.
And several of them begin to rush towards you into the cave. Perhaps maybe more than you would want are rushing towards you. However, you were running into the cave. Anything anyone else is going to do, thin their numbers, just let them all in. Right now, they are very goaded, and I think more and more of them are approaching out of the trees. Like, their numbers are increasing.
Yeah, I think we're gonna need to bring them further in and then bring it down, right? That's the
Are we
plan.
gonna need a bigger
Seems to be the
cave?
plan.
I think we're gonna need a bigger cave.
Yeah, it looks like maybe you won't be able to get them without them all like orderly packing themselves in there. There's probably slightly too many.
Come on in. There's still room, right?
Yeah, a little bit farther to the back, please.
Like loading them into the elevator at like Disneyland's like Haunted Mansion, like just like
I can probably get them. So Cerise could feasibly probably get them pretty far in and still not have an exit strategy because he knows that cave very well. But he could probably lure them pretty far in, but I don't know if he can get everyone in at once.
That's the issue,
fair.
right? It's the numbers.
What if he
of
yells,
them.
"Oh no, the leader of the resistance is back here, and whoever wins it will certainly become promoted in the Fire Nation. Everyone rush, everyone, rush here."
I think because I think the issue is not that they're not going to go inside. It's getting all of them into the cave at the same
Cerise
time.
is the solution with that. Everyone come in at once. That's the only way to catch the leader of the resistance. That work? Let me roll for that real quick. It says I got a 300. That's 12, so I mean that's a
hot.
I don't know, because I'm feeling spicy, Lauren.
That's not. You can't just roll and then tell me that you did a thing.
How do I roll for vigorous though?
I hate you. Get out.
So I think on back on track. I think
Help us here, help.
I think I'm fighting like a sort of a fighting retreat as I like back into the cave, like purposely clashing swords with those at the front and like
Trying to
pulling
thin their numbers a little bit.
Well, yeah, thinning their numbers, but like also moving backward enough that they have to keep chasing me if they want to keep fighting.
Yeah. Okay. So I think there probably needs to be a combination of you need to reduce their number slightly because you can't just take care of all of them in the cave, and you probably need to get them frenzied enough that they will mash themselves into this cave without like thinking about the fact that there's too many of them in there. So it sounds like Cerise is trying to get them to mash their bodies into this cave. And Aki as the Owl Fox, you're also trying to do kind of get them baited so that they will ignore space.
Yep.
All
Bring
right.
them in. Back them up.
All right. Yeah, I think yours sounds like a pretty fluid, a move with intention seems to be your plan.
Yeah, very much so.
Okay.
Let me just roll that for you.
Brill,
7.
do we think Grandma Avo has any other bags of rocks around that we could just try to
yes.
throw at people?
Oh, have you been to the armory? Or
There's an armory?
does anyone know about
Yeah, it's all
Grandma
rocks.
Avo's armory? Yeah.
It's just rocks. Yeah.
Different grades of rocks. We like high grade sharp rocks. We got bluntos. We got
These
we
are
got some
the
clay.
throwing rocks. These are from my younger days. They're the boulders. You know, back when I used to, and she like stamps her foot on the ground and it flies up a little bit and it lands. I think we said she's an earthbender.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, but it just, sometimes when you're older and your back just doesn't quite want to bend those rocks anymore.
So, Lauren, I am going to make myself free from imminent danger with
all
my
right.
success.
Smart.
So you're just like, nah.
I'm just too fast. I'm too fast.
You're
for
too
him.
fast.
Flurry of sword blocks and parries and dive rolls and so.
All right. So, Cerise, you know what? Screw it. I'll take your 12. It's basically
happening.
the same 12. You're extra frenzying them. They are goaded. They are bamboozled. They are frenzied. They're just ready to get in there.
They're fired up.
And I think we see at this point, unless anyone else wants to add anything, like they just begin to flood into the cave. Like they're being like corralled in as the Fire Nation are being like taunted. They're like, this way, into the cave. And they're just like flooding into this space full of cherries. And I think it helps, right? Because it's full of trees. It's hard to see what's going on in there. So they're also kind of getting lost amongst the orchard in this large, like, open top cave that is going to be imminently collapsed upon them. And of course, as they get inside, Beihai's like, oh, they are here. Don't touch my cherries. And it gets near the tree and we just see Beihai like, this one's mine. Picks up a tree and like swipes a bunch of them with it. And then starts eating it. But all of you see this tree get picked up and just like swung. Because, he's Beihai, and then he just starts eating the tree. It's like, it's my cherry tree.
Damn.
One hand.
Damn, Beihai.
Smacking him with tree. The other hand eating it. Yeah, Beihai is Bay. So, they're inside. Most of them. There's still some stragglers outside the cave, but a lot of them have flooded into this area, all of these Fire Nation troops. I think the rest of them are probably being taken care of by the various members of the Resistance. Mm-hmm. You have a couple of Earthbenders. Was the plan that they were going to be the ones to collapse the cave?
My thought was that they would be on the, and this is just, you could correct this if you want, anyone who has a better idea too, would be on the other side of the cave. Just being able to like crumble it
From
on
the
top.
outside.
Yeah, they're going to be on the outside
Yeah.
and crush it in.
Just
They're
kind
not-
of, so it's like also behind so they can't see that anyone's back there.
Yeah.
So I think we need to get out and then crush
That's
it, right?
really what I was saying. What would their signal have been to collapse the cave? Because you're all inside now, too, along with the Fire Nation, because of the various ways. I mean, maybe not all of you. Cerise is inside, Aki's inside.
It is a heroic burial.
Yeah, what would so yeah, I mean I guess once the majority of them, one of us would call out
They're just
about someone on the
The
outside.
local bird, maybe they mimic one of the, yeah. That.
Lauren, I know how I'm gonna get out.
Yeah, no, I know how you're going to get out. You're fine.
I'm gonna be imminently safe from attack. It'll be fine.
I would argue, though, that the rocks aren't attacking you.
I mean, it's true. You could.
So, you are, do they get the signal? Do we need to have some of you make some rolls to escape is
So,
what I'm really saying here.
There is
Yes,
towards
we got out.
towards the back of the cave, there is a small it's a way that we've already established. We know that there's a way out. It leads to the back of the house, which leads to the out around the back of the cave.
Okay.
So anyone who needs safety, who is in the cave, would probably go through there. Cerise is drawing them all the way back to the wall where the 2 handprints are. Cerise reaches into the suit, puts his arms into the big old. So he's in just a big rotund cherry suit. It slides out, puts it up, sets it next to the 2 handprints, takes the top of the cherry thing, puts it on top of the suit, and then reaches into his pocket and pulls on the cracked and burned Olive Fox mask.
Whoa.
Takes a deep breath, and then runs for the hole for safety.
All right. As you are doing that, the sound of the bird screech goes off, and the earthbenders on the outside, they nod to each other. We just see them sort of slam their feet down, push into the ground. We see the earth crack and crumble as the walls of the cave begin slowly, and then at first, and then quite rapidly tumbling inwards. Anyone who is inside, go ahead and give me with a move with intention to get out of there. Roll plus fluid.
Righty then. There you go, Lauren. It's a 9. I will pick imminently safe from attack.
All right.
I am nimble.
Okay.
As the breeze.
So everyone,
Cerise is not so nimble
Cerise.
as the breeze.
No, but Cerise does know the way. He has familiarity.
He does
with the
have
area,
familiarity.
So
so anyone can choose to hang back and see if they can help Cerise out. Because you all succeed, especially Rill.
Cerise would definitely wait for everyone to go through.
Yeah, and I think that's probably what happens is like everyone else who was inside the cave is like, all right, we're going, we're following through with the plan, and Cerise is like, nah, I'm gonna be cool now. And puts on this mask, like makes sure that he is the last one out. And I feel like Rill, especially because you got a full success, not just a partial success, like not only are you like about to get yourself out, but you see like Cerise being surrounded by several Fire Nation soldiers, especially one of them. I think it's the commander, the captain that he spoke to, and he's like, You lied, as like rocks are falling on them, and like one like crushes him, and he, just as he's about to say, "You lied to Kukunk."
That's a freebie.
It's not free if you don't take it. Get in here.
Yeah. Holds the Yellow Fox mask off and just dives in the hole like a slip and slide.
Excellent.
And I think you will take the tag like road rash.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. As you,
I don't have that cherry suit cushioning anymore.
You get some road rash as you slide your way out. Like Rill grabs you, maybe makes it a little slippery for you.
Little ice ramp.
Yes.
You get some ice burn, yeah. And all of you tumble outside of the cave or gracefully exit as the cave collapses onto all of these Fire Nation soldiers. But, it's kid show, so we just don't see any of them die.
Hand away from it.
They're gone. We are they were taken care of. It was great. There were cries and yells, and then the sort of the night becomes like this quiet stillness as the rocks sort of settle, and then naturally there's like one where you're like, and then it goes and another rock falls. And then you see, like, emerging out of the rubble of this collapsed cave, like, this spirit, I guess only Senna sees this, panda, like, climbing its way out. And it's like, okay, well, I guess I'll eat the other cherries. And, like, walks over to the ones outside the cave. He's like, hey, that's mine. And, like, picks up a Fire Nation soldier that was still there and, like, tosses them to the side. Pulls off branches and starts eating them. And it seems you have taken care of this contingent of Fire Nation soldiers. What do you all intend to do now? I believe the rest of your group is gonna like corral around you, probably, Rill. And they all seem very
well. We gotta hope that our
peace.
distraction works to get everybody out, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's time to take our last look at the city before we leave too, right? TAKU?
Only safe method.
Rooftops.
Yeah.
You always gotta be above.
Oh, yeah.
Is this Assassin's Creed TAKU now?
Yeah.
That would be a great game. I'm just saying.
I would play that. I would play that.
I would super
especially with
play
wire
that
foo
game.
in the mix.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like, having succeeded in our distraction, it's like I look to see if the caravan of, people leaving is visible
Yeah, I think you see like
from where we are.
in the distance, maybe there are some like it's not super obvious, like they're trying to be a little bit subtler,
Yeah,
but
of
it's night and
course.
like there's a couple of people who probably have some lanterns or other lights on them. So you see these sort of like twinkling lights like up winding their way past like the mountains through the fields and kind of off into the distance. And I think that is sort of the moment where we can kind of pull out of this moment and maybe have a moment where we sort of see where each of you are in whatever indeterminate period of time you would like to describe for your character. In terms of like the resistance in the city, I think they successfully get a lot of the people out. Probably many of the resistance people were captured or did not make it, but many of them still supported the effort, and a lot of the farmers like will make their way to Ba Sing Se, and this is like 100 years before the actual show takes place, so like Ba Sing Se probably hasn't been completely overrun and is
Yeah, it's
probably
great there.
much more pleasant currently than it than it was in the
They
context
still
of
have
the
a theme
game.
park. It's
But a
great.
lot of people will like break off and go to other people that they know and kind of disperse themselves amongst the Earth Kingdom. But Taku's never reclaimed. It is probably ransacked by the Fire Nation and then eventually like largely abandoned. But at that
Well,
point,
there's just
there
not
isn't
enough
really anything
resources,
there.
right? Like,
Yeah.
not enough Earth Kingdom resources to do so.
And so some amount of time passes, and yeah, well, we kind of do like a little denouement for each of your characters, or perhaps all of them if you choose to stick together in some capacity. Does anyone want to start or have an idea?
This is the hard part.
It is
I
the
mean,
hard
I
part.
think-
What
I
would have
think-
happened to your character? Like you
I
can go
think-
immediate. Elf, go. Sorry,
I got it. I think maybe.
no
So I
pressure.
think given the circumstances and like the way that it shook out, the persona that she had only meant to adopt for a little while becomes like her sort of method of surviving, and she takes on like the olive fox goes elsewhere, and is always keeping an eye on like smaller places where the Fire Nation's influence could be affected by one or two or three, like people doing something differently or like standing up against their like oppressive presence, like hoping to create some sort of like story that that there's one of them in every place, like there's always someone watching when you're when you think you have the upper hand, kind of thing. There's like this 5 years in the future, much more mature Olive Fox,
I feel like
still doing like Fire Nation vengeance stuff.
I feel like we also see like eventually, the Olive Fox like fades into legend and into story, and even like takes on different personas in different places, and so like even among the Fire Nation becomes like they sanitize it, they make it like the Olive Fox actually is like the triple agent, and then we sort of flash forward and we totally see like a little Prince Zuko like reading the like tales of the Olive Fox and then like being like, maybe someday I can be that cool.
Yeah, Blue
Like,
Spirit.
becomes the blue spirit, and it's like full circle.
Love it.
That's awesome.
All right. Anyone else have an idea of where their character ends up? If the fox that yips in the night.
Oh, good. Go, please go ahead. I have nothing.
I think Senna is probably torn between sticking with her friends, Rill and Cerise, or like maybe this last kind of reconnection with Beihai and kind of the collection of spirits inspires her to go to the northern water tribe and their spirit portal area. So
Maybe you do
I
a
think-
little bit of both.
yeah, I think I stick around with Rill and Senna. Or no, wait, I'm Senna.
Yeah, I stick around with myself
Close
for a
enough.
while.
Yeah, Riddle and Cerise for a while, and then when we get to kind of a northern branching part, I head north.
All right. Senna? No, Senna. Real? Cerise.
Again, close enough.
Doing it too.
I think we skip decades later for Rill. It is in Ba Sing Se. We see Rill is in some lovely kind of Earth Nation robes, but still with kind of Water Nation colors per usual. Rill has their hair done up like Grandma Avo, and is this kind of we see them sort of training a group of kind of refugee waterbenders who are trying to keep the practice alive as people are increasingly flocking to places that are safe from Fire Nation, or at least in the moment safe from Fire Nation invasion. So there's a small cadre of young waterbenders that Rill is training, and we see them sort of leave their class and walk through their house. And there's artwork on the walls. They've clearly they've been in a place of peace long enough that they are making art like their family did. Rill walks back to sort of a courtyard and brings the students in to tend a cherry tree that they're doing. So waterbending to fight, to make art, to nourish and bring life and have farming even in this big weird city. So I think they've found a way to unite all the pieces of them.
Oh, I love it. All right, Cerise,
And they're
bring
a
us
cool
home.
old person.
They are so cool when they're old. Like the coolest.
Right?
I would. Is it okay if I add just a little bit onto that one, Darcy?
Please.
Perfect. There are several. There's some cherry trees around there. There's some farming happening. There's an older Cerise, still kind of missing parts of his eyebrow, but the bruise has lifted. He just got a little bit of a scar across here, and he's not wearing a cherry costume, but he is wheeling a wheelbarrow around, and inside of it are a bunch of olives, like olive trees and things that he's going, because they grow in the same climate as cherries, by the way. So he's planting a couple, and he's wheeling in, and goes past Rill. I have this great idea for a new type of garden. I'm going to call it an olive garden. It's in honor of the olive fox. What do you think?
What a noble idea. I think it's brilliant. Many hundreds of years from now, people will speak of this olive garden. And they'll be inspired.
I feel
They'll
like
want to create olive gardens all over their own towns.
All over their towns.
we can franchise. I feel like as you were standing there, there's some kids barreling down the street and they're running and they knock into your cart of olives and they go tumbling and you're like, my olives! You don't have to include that.
I do like that a lot. So that does happen.
Okay.
My olives! Oh, and Cerise kind of just bends down and is kind of scooping all of the olive trees and parts into the thing, and kind of looks over at Rill and just kind of BFF and death. Handshake.
Elaborate handshake.
Like to the point where I think your students are like, what are they even doing?
Yeah.
Is this going to be on the final?
Yeah.
Awesome. Perfect.
And then that's when the credits roll.
Yeah.
Just on one confused student's face.
Yeah.
Oh, that was beautiful.
I feel like I played a different game to Marcus. Like we were playing two separate games.
No, I think the reason why I wanted to be the peasant was because I knew that this was going to be a very serious game.
You need
and one of my
awesome.
favorite things about Avatar is it had the silliness in there with that.
Yeah.
So I wanted to bring the annoying cherry farm.
No, I wasn't saying that in a bad way.
Oh no! I love this is, and I'm sorry. I just want to say you guys are all lovely. This has been wonderful. I have had such a great time, and I'm so sad this is over.
I know.
I'm sure we'll do more together.
I
in the
am
future.
confident.
I hope so.
Turns out that I like running RPGs, and I have many of them.
Who knew?
So who knew? Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us, for watching. Thanks for sticking with us after only like 5 months between the mysteries.
It's fine. It's fine. Don't
It's
tell
April.
anyone. It's fine.
Yeah, next run we'll set it after. We'll just like
Like
frame
way after.
way after, like 100 years later.
You can
Avatar
actually find
2025.
Senna hanging out with Uncle Iroh in the spirit realm.
Yes,
During Korra.
it'll be a little.
I would love that.
Little spoiler, not a spoiler. Easter egg. That's the word I was looking
Easter
for.
egg.
Delicious.
All right. Let's go around and have each of you say who you are, where you can be found. In the meantime, and then we'll wrap this beauty up. It will be up on YouTube within like 24 hours. Give me a little bit of time. I still have last night's show to put up on YouTube because YouTube was being a butt. But yeah, so stick around. It'll be on there. But my VODs are open, so if anyone didn't catch the whole episode, you can also just grab it in the VODs. So let's start with Maris, because we ended with Maris last time.
Hi, Maris. I am Maris. You can find me as Fabric Alchemist on Twitter and Instagram, where I do lots of sewing, sometimes arting, and puppy pictures.
They're very good puppy pictures.
Yeah.
You also work on this like little known game.
Oh yes, also I'm a creative producer on Magic the Gathering. So
I'm
my
so
very
excited.
my very first set that I worked on was Ikoria, so I'm very excited.
Could be playing it tomorrow. I'm super excited.
Holy crap.
All right, Elf.
Hello, I'm Distracted Elf. I stream on Twitch. You can find me at twitch.tv/DistractedElf or on Twitter at DistractedElf, and probably doing more RPG stuff with Lauren and other people in the future, near future. So keep your eye on that. And if you like Mountain Blade, or maybe soon I'll try the FF7 remake. And then shortly after that, there's a new XCOM game coming out in like 9 days, so I'm going to play the hell out of that. You can find me at twitch.tv/DistractedElf, like I said. Go there.
Some good salty entertainment.
Yeah.
I lurk in your streams a lot.
Thank you.
I'm like, yeah, you be angry about that. Don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about, but I support you.
I definitely do that. Stellaris today was hard.
Darcy.
Hey everybody, I'm Darcy. You can find me all the places at Darcy L. Ross. I work with Monty Cook Games, which is the handle I've been using in chat. So I'm speaking on behalf of Monty Cook Games. We make RPGs like Numenera and the Cypher System, like Shattered Sky uses. Pretty
Or
good.
The Strange, which is hands down still one of my favorite settings I've ever played.
Yes.
So if you follow me, you'll see me tweeting about science and RPGs and weird creatures, usually.
It's all good things.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, bring us home. Cerise. Marcus. Who are you?
Hi.
What are you doing here? How did you get an our Zoom call?
Hi, I am Marcus, or Best Kinda Worst on Twitter. I tweet a lot of selfies and nonsense, as well as partake in a wonderful, wonderful show called Shattered Sky, used on the Cypher System. I would highly, highly recommend it. It's really fun. There's a lot of really talented, cool people involved working on it. And yeah, I'm going to shout out my love for you all. This has been so wonderful. Thank you so much for playing this game with me. And I'm very happy to have been here. Thank you. Thank you, everyone watching.
Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us, for hanging out. Again, this will be up on YouTube soon. If you are here because you enjoy my stream, I will be back tomorrow morning, usual time and place. We're going to be playing the new Ikoria MTG Arena release because we have early access, and I'm very, very excited. Big, stompy monsters. Big, stompy monsters.
What time is that?
I will be streaming at 9 a.m.
Awesome.
And I'll probably be like, Steph! And then I'll grab her and pull her across the room at some point. So I will see you all tomorrow. Take care of yourselves. Be safe. Have fun. Whatever. Bye!
Go away.